When investing in a new machine, like a laptop for example, don't you feel like you're starting a new journey with that specific gear? Only after a while, then you realize that you need the next better thing. In this materialistic world where we are very easily influenced by our favorite tech YouTube channel, or we feel like there is an urgent need to buy the next better thing, all of those kind of things can blind you on the values of what you have at hand. So, recently, I reviewed my 2 years experience using the M1 Macbook Pro, and in that video I made it very clear that I am going to continue using my M1 MacBook Pro despite the very inexpensive price at the moment for holiday for the M1 Pro coming out. Because in that video I questioned myself, when is the right time to upgrade my machine? And to answer that specific question, if I were to upgrade my M1 MacBook Pro to another level, there are two devices that I really want to purchase or have in mind. They are the M1 Pro, the 14-inch M1 Pro that came out a year ago, and the upcoming M2 Pro, which is believed to come out in the first quarter of 2023. So my opinion will be based on what I have at the moment, which is the M1 MacBook Pro. And here are my thoughts whether or not you should buy the current M1 Pro that is really cheap because of holiday season, or you should wait for the M2 Pro. So, with a few more months to come and the upcoming release of the M2 Pro, it raises a question. Is it worth it to go for the very expensive M2 Pro, or should we buy the very or slightly inexpensive M1 Pro that is on discount everywhere? And even in my country, Cambodia, which does not have an Apple store, these machines are sold at a staggering price of below $2,000 for a higher end spec, or a bit over $2,000 for a more higher end spec of the 14-inch M1 Pro. And with all of this in mind, my take on this matter is based on your requirement. Because remember, these machines are incredibly powerful. The jump from MacBook Pro Intel to the M1 MacBook Pro was really tremendous, and from the M1 MacBook Pro to the M1 Pro was also tremendous. And with that in mind, and your requirement in mind, if what you're using provides you convenience, minimal lag, and you're satisfied with it, then you probably are not going to need either the M1 Pro or the M2 Pro. That is just going to be a overkill and a complete waste of money, especially if you're not doing professional work or paid work with your laptop. On the other hand, if you're checking the box of a person who are getting paid doing professional work, or your current machine has a massive issue or a lot of lag, or your machine can be an obstruction to your productivity and creativity or efficiency, then let's talk to each other about purchasing whether the M1 Pro or the M2 Pro, which will be coming out very soon. Again, these are based on my personal opinion, so feel free to leave yours down below on whether you want to buy the current 14-inch M1 Pro or wait for the M2 Pro. But personally, for me, I check the box of a person doing professional paid work as a freelancer, cinematographer and photographer. And in the last video, I made it very clear that I'm quite content with the performance I got from my M1 MacBook Pro. For me, it is of course a matter of time before I need a replacement, and that replacement can be the M1 Pro or the M2 Pro. So if you're in a similar situation with me, or like me, for example, you are a paid worker doing freelancing stuff and you have an M1 MacBook Pro and you're completing your work with just minor inconveniences, if you fit those criteria, my suggestion would be that you should not consider buying an M1 Pro yet, and instead you should continue hustling, making more money out of the M1 MacBook Pro. Because remember, if you have the M1 MacBook Pro, which came out about 2 years ago, you don't really need to upgrade to a newer machine which just came out a year ago. It's just a 1-year gap. So my suggestion to you is that myself especially, I should be continuing to earn more so that I can afford a better machine in the future, and that depends on the performance of the M2 Pro. So let's talk about the performance of the M2 Pro. If the M2 Pro is substantially better and a lot better than the M1 Pro, then it would make sense to go for the M2 Pro instead of the M1 Pro. However, if the M1 Pro and the M2 Pro gap of performance is not that big and it's just a small margin, then it's a lot better to go for the M1 Pro immediately with a cheaper price than the M2 Pro, or wait for the M2 Pro price to drop a bit so that you can purchase that machine. So yeah, ultimately my suggestion to you is to see the situation first, whether the M2 Pro is good or not. If it's good, you can wait for the price to drop and then buy it if you are not in a hurry and you have the M1 Macbook Pro. Or if there is just marginal differences and you're on tight budget, then you should consider buying the M1 Pro, because based on so many reviews on different tech channels, the M1 Pro exceeds a lot of people's expectation and it came with a newer design. And yeah, those are my 2 cents whether we should buy the M1 Pro or wait for the M2 Pro to come out. How about you lot? What do you think? What are your plans? Do you want to wait for the upcoming M2 Pro, or do you want to just straight up buy the M1 Pro which came out a year ago? And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to share your ideas down below. This has been Sam, and see you guys later. Goodbye.